Hello, and thank you for watching this October 19th weather update, brought to you by Agrible, the makers of Morning Farm Report. My name is Eric Snodgrass, and I am a senior atmospheric scientist and co-founder of Agrible. This past weekend was dominated by cold and dry weather across the Midwest. Just like we forecast last week, fall's first widespread frost arrived very close to the climatological average for Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio, while it was much later than normal for the northern parts of the Corn Belt. The biggest concern from the frost will be the impact on late-planted beans in Missouri and Indiana and Ohio, but the market certainly didn't react much on the forecast of this frost last week. November beans finished the weekend near $9 after sliding to finish last week. The map shows us how the first half of October is shaping up in terms of temperatures, and most of the United States has been warmer than average. In the bottom right is the last 2 weeks of rainfall. Most of the Corn Belt has been quite dry, allowing for uninterrupted harvest. In the last week, Kentucky, Michigan, and Missouri saw some light rain, as did parts of North Dakota, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. In contrast, most of Iowa didn't even see a drop. Now, West Texas through the Four Corner states have been quite wet this month, as the North American monsoon winds down. Thankfully, rain did fall in the Pacific Northwest and in California, which are battling historic drought. Before we take a close look at the impact on the rain in California, we need to take a quick look at the U.S. Drought Monitor. Starting in the east, the drought that had developed near the Carolinas was wiped out by the torrential rains from the start of the month. In the central United States, drought conditions have returned to Mississippi, Louisiana, and eastern Texas, even after a wet spring and early summer. This is one region to watch closely this week, though, as a surge of tropical moisture will push into the area, but more on that in just a few moments. Well, let's look out west. The historic drought has its grip on states west of the Continental Divide. This graph shows us the last 15 years of drought conditions in California. The current drought has been the most extensive for all levels of drought in this state. Every bit of rain helps, but the major risk this winter is for too much rain too quickly. We saw the impacts of this at the end of the week last week, as parts of the Mojave Desert received better than an inch of rain. These images show the impact of the mudslides that ensued from these storms. Well, turning our attention back to the Corn Belt, this animation shows the winds in the jet stream on Sunday night. The jet stream is an important atmospheric feature to watch during the cold season, as its behavior controls nearly all of the weather we have for most of the year. The large U-shaped feature in the northeast is called a trough. Troughs in the jet stream are associated with cold weather, and this trough is co-located with the cold air that is pushed into the northeast for Monday morning. Frost and freeze warnings are in place all along the mid-Atlantic states for Monday morning. Looking back toward the center of the country, when the jet stream retreats to the north and bulges into Canada, we call that feature a ridge. Ridges are associated with warm conditions. This ridge will be the main feature for this week, signaling the return of warmer than normal conditions to the Great Plains and Midwest. The next significant weather maker will arrive as a trough out west digs southward to start the week. This southerly flow will draw a deep plume of moisture from the Gulf of Mexico into the southern states. We can start to see the evidence of that flow in this map of surface winds. On Sunday night, a large area of high pressure sat over the Ohio River Valley. As this high-pressure system moves east, the clockwise flow will introduce warm, southerly winds to the Great Plains. Here's an animation of this week's forecast temperatures. Monday morning's cold weather across the East Coast gives way to a buildup of warmer air in the central U.S. through the end of the week. With that warm air comes a chance of precipitation, especially in the center of the United States, where drought has actually been a problem for the last 2 months. This animation shows the accumulation of precipitation Monday through Saturday. A low-pressure system is expected to form in the Gulf of Mexico and flow to the north on those southerly winds. Quite a bit of rain is forecast to fall across Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Kansas this week. We need to watch for the impact this rain will have on winter wheat. It certainly has been dry in this region, so this rain will make a huge dent in the drought. Well, as we finish, let's take another look at the planting in Brazil. Rains have been a bit delayed across Mato Grosso, but some locations have received enough to make progress with planting beans. Overall, the dryness has slowed planting, and the next 8 days look drier than normal in this region, as shown on the top graph. The opposite is true in southern Brazil, as an abundance of rain has been falling. Flooding is an issue in several fields in Paraná, which will likely compromise the beans planted in poor draining areas. Forecast models are suggesting much more rain for central Brazil during the last week of October and the start of November. The bottom figure shows the forecast rainfall for October 26th through November 3rd, as we can see widespread rainfall across most of central Brazil. Remember, El Niño conditions are historically favorable for yields in Brazil. Well, as always, we at Agrible will bring you the latest and best weather forecast information through our morning farm report so that you can efficiently plan your operations. We thank you for your attention and hope you look forward to our next weather video update. Thank you.